All right, starting this one off in Carl's shop again, and this time we're actually working on changing the thermostat in the car. It's kind of one of the last things, but as we're trying to do that, we're trying to drain the radiator slightly so we don't leak all over the motor. And the petcock obviously down there, at the very bottom of the radiator, it's not letting anything out. So maybe we have an issue with the radiator, we're not quite sure. So I think the step we're gonna take now is actually drain the coolant out and maybe just flush the radiator, make sure everything looks like it's flowing good. Then we'll kind of go from there. But yeah, thermostat, and now at this point, check the radiator over, so we'll do that. And hopefully this takes care of the issue so Carl can actually drive this thing. All right, check back with you in a bit. All right, so we're backing out of Carl's shop here. Changed the thermostat to the 160, and it had a 180 in there, so it's not a whole lot different. Got that changed, topped off the coolant. And at this point, that's all we've done. We're gonna give it a shot here. It's been running for, I don't know, what, 15 minutes or so. I would think it would be cooler than that, but it's a big motor, so it'll probably run a little bit warmer. Maybe we should try going out of this driveway straight this time. Or the bumper hit. There, a little less tire rub. No, he's not gonna have any tires on. We keep going out of the driveway like that. Sounds like the whole sidewall is getting slit open. So again, thermostat change, topped off the coolant, and at this point, it seems to be holding. We'll take it for a little cruise here, see what it does. I'd like it to stay cooler than 195, but I guess if it holds it there. I mean, the only things really left are radiator or a water pump, unless there's an issue with a head gasket or block or something, but I don't understand it. The motor was put together, it's all brand new, and it's been dynoed, so we'll give her a little run here and we'll see what happens. Now this gauge is actually going up. I just don't get, like it said, the radiator, why it gets so fucking hot. If we got to keep driving this thing. I think we started yesterday with 3/4 of a tank. We're at 3/8.
A few moments later.
Why all of a sudden is it fucking climbing?
Yeah, 205. What's going on there?
All of a sudden we hit a point where all of a sudden, boom, after driving down that long stretch, couldn't recover.
As soon as you slow down, it fucking went to the stop sign.
stop back at Carl's shop here and then get this baby cooled off a little bit, and then we'll see what we come up with.
You want to play with Hey Alexa, you want to play with Axel? We had Axel on the phone. Alexa was playing with Axel.
All right, well, I think the mystery is solved, hopefully.
We're going the wrong way.
Yeah, we're going the wrong way.
We got to drive in reverse.
That's exactly the problem.
Can I put a reverse light? Can I put a reverse camera in so I can drive it? God bless America.
All right, well,
Ryan Pauly, talk to us.
after doing some searching here and some thinking, I guess,
And spending money.
and spending Carl's money,
That's okay, I got all kinds of.
well, I think what we found out was the motor came from TriStar Engines. Not trying to blame anybody, but he did get the CVF serpentine kit from them, and if anybody's installing this and you already owned a water pump, read the directions because it does require a reverse rotation water pump. So,
Kind of like my wife.
I don't know
She's
about your
always
wife.
in reverse.
So what was happening was it kind of made sense that the radiator was getting hot before the motor. Obviously you want to heat up your coolant in the engine. That's the point of a thermostat. Radiator's cool, opens up, circulates the hot stuff in, and takes the cool stuff into the motor. Well, the radiator was getting hot right away, and that's because we were pulling all the hot coolant out of the motor, shoving it right into the radiator. So we'll get a water pump coming here, and then hopefully next week we
We'll have
can
an
wrap.
update for you.
Well, we'll have another update for you, but this time we'll be burning tires.
Yes, indeed. Volvo's tire.
Well, you gotta get that.
Hello to Wayne Burkle. Hey, Wayne, got the wrong wheels on my car.
Yeah, I got to get that
Son of a
problem
boss.
solved as well.
Sweet
A little bit of
baby.
tire rub, but
That's okay.
all right. Well, I think that's going to wrap it here for today at Carl's shop. We will be back to swap a water pump
In Manchester.
and hopefully solve all the issues. So next we'll be back at the shop here and we'll do a little bit update on Phoenix.
Oh yeah, that's coming.
So back at the shop here, it is the afternoon, had to go get a few things done myself, and I went ahead and lifted the box off of this because I wanted to kind of remember where I was at with things. I kind of knew what needed to be done, but I'll recap what is done to the truck and then what we need to finish. So if you don't recall, this truck has been 4-linked. This is the original rear end out of the death trap that I took out when I went to a full sheet metal rear end housing. We've got everything tacked up. We got the front cross tube piece. We've got our front 4-link bars. But again, all this stuff was just, these plates are welded in, but these plates here have just been tacked in. All the tubes are just tacked, and as you can see, everything's pretty well rusted up under here. So I think what I'll have to do is probably just grab a wire wheel and then clean all this stuff up, start welding all the front 4-link brackets on, then we can get the housing out, and then we can weld everything up on there. And then all these shock bars all need welded on as well. The mounts, the bar itself I think needs welded in, and I believe, oh, I did add those in there. So I added these other gussets to keep this tube from trying to twist as well, because that was a concern of mine with having this long distance across here and having all that shock pressure pushing up on it. And the reason why these are so much longer is because if you don't recall, these are my 12-inch shocks, strange double adjustable that I took off the death trap. Since mine had such that raked look, we ordered 10-inch for this, and I hadn't made the shock mounts yet, so I wanted to use the 10s on the death trap and then made the 12s work on here so it had that nice level look to it. And then, yeah, it seems to work. Like I said, we're not drag racing with it yet. I don't know if we ever would, but it made the 12-inch shocks work on here, got mine dropped down. I wish mine was still a little bit more level. When I run car tires, it's all right, but when I run like the 35s or something like that, it definitely just, it really gives it that rake look, and I don't like it. So I think next what I'll do, like I said, I just probably grab a grinding wheel, start cleaning up the areas that I can, and then do what I can underneath of here with the box off. And then because I only have the hoist to put the box on, I'll probably set the box back down, lift the whole truck up, take the rear end housing out, and then start to weld all of these brackets onto that housing. And panhard bar, I believe, is welded in. I'm not sure about inside the frame. But then again, take all the tubes off, connect all that stuff back up, and then this should be pretty well finished back here. I don't know of anything else we're going to add into here. We're going to run a fuel cell in the box, so we were talking about taking this out and putting the tank back in the rear. but because we're going to run methanol, we just thought it'd be best just to keep everything up front. And we like to have fires, obviously. It's not intentional by all means, trust me. It does happen, and having a methanol tank sitting right back here is going to be bad news for us. Yeah, you can definitely see the old heat line on the body there, where she burned all the paint. I'm going to have to probably clean this up, as I mentioned before. This is what happens, all that chalkiness. So there's a great example of that. Obviously, we didn't get this clean because the box is on, so maybe I'll roll it ahead and get that done as well. But enough talking. Let's go ahead and start cleaning stuff up. That way we can get to welding, get somewhere. Well, as you've seen there, I went ahead and wire wheeled the frame off, and for the most part, it came clean, except deep down inside some of this pitting. Obviously, it's tough to get that rust out of there, even with a wire wheel. You can really see the difference over here on the side where the pitting still has some rust in it. Went ahead and welded up this side, and also on this side, I just went ahead and wire wheeled just the portion where I was going to weld down here. Not really the most beauty welds, but for what we're doing, like usual, it'll work. But I had a conversation with Jason, and because some of this rust is pretty pitted in there, and the wire wheel does good, like I said, just doesn't quite get it where we want it. Now, the good news is this frame has been blasted recently, and the rust that's on there I know is very light rust. Obviously with the wire wheel it comes off pretty quick, pretty easy. So I think what we're going to do is not to just make these series real short, but I'm going to end this one here with two notes. One, we're going to get some blast media. We're going to blast this frame. This is going to take a couple hours, 2-3 hours to blast. Not a big deal, and it'll get all the pits, everything. Because you also got to realize that getting between these brackets is going to be a complete pain in the rear. You know, all these 4-link brackets down here. To wire wheel those it's not going to work. So blast media, we'll get some of that. We'll blast this frame here this week, and then I can get back to welding on this, and I won't have to worry about any of the rust, won't have to worry about any of the pitting. Everything will be clean, we can weld. And then also we'll get that water pump in for Carl's Nova. Again, anyone with the CVF kit, I just want to clarify. TriStar Engines dynoed the engine. They sold Carl the CVF kit. Carl wanted to buy from one place, so he had them buy it, and they did not install it on the dyno. So we are assuming, which we will find out tomorrow, and I will confirm before we order the water pump, that it would be a standard rotation, which is exactly what my brother would do on our dyno with any motor we dyno. You usually just run a belt from the water pump to the crank. Motor spins clockwise looking at it from the front to the crank, so the water pump would spin clockwise. Well, the CVF kit says right on their website, under the please read before installing instructions, you know, this about the alternator, blah, 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 power steering, and AC condenser, or the pump, which all that came from CVF, except the water pump did not, and it does need counterclockwise rotation. So we'll get that confirmed and ordered, and then we'll have an update on that, and hopefully we can wrap that up for Carl. Like I said, he's had that car now for a few years. 1 year for sure done last summer that he could have drove it, but now all these issues keep arising up. Thanks to Dorelli for the sweet fans they make. That thing is going to keep that thing cool once we get the water pump going the right way. But like, comment, share, and subscribe, guys. Comment down below, like I said, anything you guys want to see. And we'll see you guys on the next episode.